Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be talking all about acne. So if you guys follow me on social media and you guys know a little bit about me, I'm pretty sure that you guys know that I've been struggling with acne for about a couple years now, and I just want to get into my experience, my journey, and my plans to hopefully cure it. So I just want to let you guys know that if you are struggling with acne, that I know it sucks and I know that it takes a big toll on your confidence. I'm here to hopefully help you guys and give you tips. Everyone's skin is different, but I've tried a lot of stuff and maybe something that didn't work for me will work for you. So if you guys just want to stay and go ahead and see what my trial and my experience with acne, just go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so I have notes on my phone because I've been struggling with acne for a couple years now, and I wanted to make sure that I did mention everything that I've experienced and that I've gone through. I originally, all throughout high school, I had really decent skin. I would get like 1 or 2 pimples and it would be like one big pimple. It would become whitehead, it wasn't cystic, it wasn't ever anything bad. And then come my senior year, junior year, summer into senior year, I actually started taking biotin because I wanted to grow out my hair because I had just gotten a haircut and it was before homecoming and I wanted really long hair because I felt like it was going to go really good with my dress, and my hair was already really long. I'll put a picture right here of how long my hair was. I wanted it to grow longer and I wanted my nails to grow faster even though they already grew. I don't know. I really don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, and I started to take biotin. I remember I was at a football game, the JV football game, and one of the parents was there, one of the cheer parents was there, and she was like, oh, I was talking to her about my skin because she's an esthetician. I remember she was telling me, she was like, and I started telling her that I was taking biotin and my skin started getting bad, and she was like, oh, that's just the pills, it's going to push everything out before it gets better. So it's oh, okay, no problem, I'll just go ahead and keep taking it and hopefully my skin is bomb. But that was not the case. I think this triggered my acne, honestly. So this is fall of senior year and my acne started getting really bad. If I have pictures, I'll post them up here, all around me, but honestly I didn't take pictures because I wasn't confident. My confidence went down so low. Honestly, I was kind of depressed because it was just so much acne at one time and I wasn't used to having anything on my face like that. So that was fall of senior year. And then so once my acne, I couldn't control it at all. I was trying every face wash possible from the drugstore and nothing was working. Everything was just too harsh for my skin. It was just really irritated and cystic and it hurt so bad. So I ended up needing to find a dermatologist, and my parents kind of didn't pay any mind to my acne because they kind of just thought it was a phase or something, and I knew it wasn't a phase. I was hoping that it was a phase, but it turned out it was not a phase. So I knew I had to find a dermatologist to go ahead and help my skin. So I go on Google and I know a friend who was struggling with acne too, and I asked her oh, what dermatologist did you go to? And she was telling me this dermatologist. It was in Whittier. So I scheduled an appointment with them, and so I got set up an appointment and I ended up going in, and I remember it was really weird because I felt so uncomfortable because I honestly would always wear makeup to try and cover it up, which kind of made it worse. I know it made it worse because I would pack it on. I used to use MAC Studio Fix and I would just pack it all over my cheeks, everywhere, to try and cover it up even though it really wasn't working. And then I remember going into the doctor's office that time and I felt so uncomfortable, so vulnerable, and I remember sitting down and the dermatologist came in and he was just talking to me. In my head I would think that he would kind of analyze, put a glove on and go over my skin with his hand, get up close and personal with me and see the kind of acne that I have and what problems I had. They were just oh, what are you struggling with? And I was just I've had acne and I've never gotten it this bad and I want something to help cure it. He gave me a topical gel. I'm not sure exactly of what topical gel it was, but he ended up giving me a little sample of the topical gel, and he ended up giving me doxycycline. He gave me samples of the doxycycline pills. I remember that. It was a tiny little bottle, and then he gave me samples of the topical gel. So I went home and then I was applying the topical gel as prescribed, and then it was not working. It was honestly making my skin worse. If I have pictures again, I'll be posting pictures throughout the video. Hopefully if I have any, because honestly I didn't like taking pictures back then. It was just not a fun time for me. Okay, senior year, I didn't have a 4th period or a 6th period. Honestly, I was never at school senior year I would be originally, and I started driving and I had my acne, so I did not want to get in public. I remember I would go home, honestly I would cry on the way home in the car. I would always cry. It was really bad now that I think about it. It's kind of sad, but you know what, it takes a toll on your confidence, and I'm not gonna lie, it does. But you know what, you learn from stuff, and you just have to overpower yourself and love yourself. It's all, honestly, life is all mental, and with acne it's all mental. Yeah, it physically sucks because you have the stuff on your face and you feel everyone's just staring at your face first. Just love yourself, even though I know acne sucks and it's a struggle and it's so hard to cure for some people, like for me it is. I remember I was always crying, like trying all these kind of home remedies and stuff, and nothing was working. Everything was making it worse. I remember I was sitting in Avid. I had high school Avid, so I had Avid third period. I remember I was sitting in class, and I remember my skin was peeling like a snake, guys. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, it was so nasty. It was like the worst thing. Like, it was so uncomfortable to even be in public, and it hurt so bad. Like, when I touched my skin used to hurt. So it still kind of hurts, but it used to be so much worse. Like, everything was red. It looked like someone burned my face. So I remember I was sitting in Avid, and my Avid tutor's like next to me, and like we were talking, having a conversation, and then I see him staring at my skin, and I like, honestly, I had it from there. Like, I couldn't do it anymore. So I remember getting up out of class like right when he was doing that, because I felt so uncomfortable and I really had it, like I couldn't handle it anymore. And I remember I walked into class and called my mom, and I was like, honestly, I never ditched. So to say this, I never ditched. I always told my mom, like, okay, I'm not gonna go to this class, whatever, like I'm gonna go home. So what I did is I walked out of class and I ended up calling my mom, like, Mom, you need to pull me out. I can't handle this anymore. Like, people are staring at my skin hurts, like I just feel so ugly, like you need to pull me out. And honestly, I'm the kind of person that kind of bottles things up, so I probably just called her saying, Mom, you need to pick me up, like my skin hurts really bad, I feel so uncomfortable, like you just need to pull me out of school. So I remember driving home that day, and I was crying on the way home, and I remember taking off my makeup, and I tried like this cinnamon mask. I looked up something on Pinterest to kind of help my acne. It was like a cinnamon oatmeal mask. I remember putting it on, it made my skin worse. It burned so bad, and I was just sitting there like crying as it was burning. And that same day I had practice for cheer, so I ended up having to go back to school, and I remember just like, it was not a fun day, and I really couldn't handle it anymore. So I just remember like crying, whatever, but I never cried in front of everyone about it because it was like my personal problem, and I'm not the type of person to kind of give everyone my problems, so I was just kind of kept things to myself. I remember going to practice, and it was just all red and it was burning. I remember people would even ask my friends, like, what happened to Bryana's skin, like how did she break out and stuff, and like they would tell her, like, I don't know, like, mind your own business. These people wouldn't even talk to me, because honestly I didn't talk to that many people in high school. That happened. I remember I actually bought my first foundation, and I remember it was a Revlon Color Stay, and I would cake that on. I remember I bought it for winter formal, and I noticed that my skin started to get worse as it went into the colder months. So this is winter formal coming around, I remember I felt so uncomfortable, and I remember I always run really late, but I remember I had to like cover my face up and try to like make sure to cover every little bump up. But with acne, it's like you can cover up the discoloration, you can't cover up the bumps. So like you'll see, like, it just looks so cakey and gross. I remember actually getting to my date, and we were taking pictures, and he was like, oh, it took you so long. I remember like I was just so like sad and like over my acne and just so like mad that I was like, this took forever. Like, I was like, this took so long to cover up. And then like he just kind of stood quiet. To me, like, I knew what was going on with me, and like for me to say that is like kind of out of character, because I don't really give anyone like attitude or anything. So that's like winter formal. I ended up trying out Curology because I ended up hearing like a lot of people would do Curology. So like, okay, like let me give this a try. And this is going into spring of senior year, and honestly this is where I had all of my pictures on that website, but now I don't have it anymore, so I can't get those pictures, and that's when my acne was really bad. I wish I could get those pictures back, but I really can't. I'm gonna try and get them somehow, but I doubt I'm gonna be able to recover them from the website. So I ended up going to Curology, uploaded my pictures. They ended up giving me topical gels, and it actually was working for a little bit. And this is when the weather was getting warmer. So going into senior year of spring and like prom, graduation, like all the senior events, my skin actually started to clear up. I don't know what it was. It may have been the Curology, because it was working for a while. Prom, my skin was good. Graduation, my skin was good. Senior events, my skin was good. I remember some girl actually came up to me, and she saw that my face was breaking out and stuff, and she actually told me about this. I think it's Clean and Clear. It's like a topical gel, and I'll go ahead and put it here because honestly it really did help for a long time, but I think my skin got used to it, and then my skin just started breaking out again. But I'll go ahead and put this here because honestly, if you have like mild acne, I feel like this topical gel that I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys right here is like the best thing at the drugstore, at least for me. And for the other girl, she said she had back acne and also face acne, and it worked for her. Throughout the summer of getting out of high school, my skin was really good. Summer of going into freshman year of college, my skin was still good. So fall going into freshman year of college, this is when my skin started to get bad again, and it was just like a whole roller coaster again. Like everything turned upside down and it just went downhill. And I remember this time, like, well, they were like pustules I'm gonna go ahead and insert pictures so you guys know what I'm talking about, but they're like when they leak out, and they're like open wounds, like they hurt so bad. At this point, like I had no idea what to do. Like I went to a dermatologist, it didn't help. I was trying Curology. They were recommending so many things that wasn't helping. My nana always knew that my face bugged me so much, and she actually struggled with acne as well. Like I feel like it's just in our family. So she was trying to help me at the most that she could. And I ended up going to get facials because someone recommended to me to go ahead and go get facials because someone that they knew had acne and they wouldn't go to facial and their skin ended up clearing up really good. But honey, not for me. So I ended up going to this facialist in Whittier. It's in Uptown. See, I don't know if it was the person who was doing the facial or if it was just my skin was just stubborn and like it was just really sensitive. Honestly, I don't think she dealt with my skin type and how sensitive my skin was and how bad my skin was. So I ended up going to the facialist, and I was going to her for like a couple of months up until like fall, up until like Christmas, I would say. And this is probably like September, October, November, December, probably like till November, December. And then I remember I would get a facial every month, I want to say. I'm not sure. I want to say it was every month. And every facial was like $70, so it'd be like $70 every month for a facial. And every time I would go, it would kind of like burn my skin really bad, and it was just wasn't helping. It was making it worse. And I remember the facialist actually recommended African Black Soap, the Shea Moisture brand, and I ended up trying that out. And for my skin, it broke me out. It worked for some people, but for my skin, it ended up making my skin so bad. And she would do chemical peels on me that would make my skin so bad. She actually activated my acne, so that's why that didn't work. And I remember like my last 5th or 6th facial, I remember I was sitting on the bed with the facial on my face, and my skin was just hurting so bad. Like I just felt so ugly. I remember sitting there and she was doing the chemical peel, and my eyes started to water, but I didn't let myself cry because I don't want my nana to see that like I was hurt and like my skin was hurting. I just felt so ugly. She was trying to help me. I didn't want to make her feel like bad that because the facialist wasn't helping me. I remember just sitting there, and even the facialist, she kind of was like confused, like she didn't really know what to do with my skin because it was just getting worse and worse every time that I was going to her. I never had all this acne down here. It would never go this far down. And after getting those facials, I ended up getting acne all here, like all my lower cheeks, and also made all the rest of my acne on my face worse. And I remember that specific time, like the 6th time that I got a facial, we ended up leaving. Like we get in the car and I was like, oh, do you want to go eat? Like let's go eat somewhere. And then honestly, like I just wanted to cry. I didn't want to cry in front of her though. So I was telling her like, no, I'm okay. Like I was kind of being rude, which I know is bad, but like I just wanted to cry. Like I didn't want her to see me crying about it. So I was telling her like, no, it's okay. Like I just want to go home. Like my face hurts. I just want to go home. So I ended up dropping her off, and then I remember I was bawling on the way home. I had it. Like it was really sad. Like when I think about like me breaking down like that, it makes me sad. But it's like I've come a long way, and mentally and like with my confidence, that it's just like you need to be there for yourself because no one else is going to be there as much as you will be there for yourself. And then my friends were calling me to go over their house, so I did a FaceTiming them. Like I don't want them to see me crying and stuff, and just ended up going to her house. And like my friend, she was like the biggest support. Skin doesn't define you. Like because I've been friends with her for like for a long time, and if you're watching this, you know who you are. I ended up going over there because I was like, I can't be by myself all the time when I'm going through this. Like I know it's not good for me. So I went to her house, and like I just felt a lot better about it. But like it's still like every day I'd wake up, like every day I went to sleep, like it's always bugging me. Throughout this whole time, like my family, whenever I go to like family functions and stuff, they would always tell me like, oh, like is your skin okay? Like have you tried this? Have you tried that? I'm like, I've tried so much stuff, like I just don't want to talk about it. Like I would get really mad when people would ask me about it because it was just something I was struggling with and nothing was helping. Like, and I knew nothing was helping, and I knew it was bad. So it's like, why are you telling me something I already know? So after that facial, I completely stopped getting facials. I was like, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. It hurts too much. And then I actually went on to Curology again, like spring of freshman year of college. I didn't know what else to do, and like a lot of people were saying that it was helping them, so I just took another shot with it, and I just tried it again to see if like anything would be different this time if I got a different dermatologist. And honestly, they're not dermatologists on there. They're like nurse practitioners or registered nurse, something like that. Like it doesn't say dermatologist under their credentials. I don't know, it's weird. I remember my physician was telling me like, oh, it must be like your intake of dairy, but I was like, no, I've always eaten dairy, like it can't be that. So I ended up trying to not eat dairy for a while, and it wasn't helping, of course. But everyone would always tell me like, oh, you can't eat like any dairy. I'm like, it's not that, like don't tell me that. The Curology person that I had, she recommended me Pyrithione Zinc soap. I got off of Amazon. and it helped a little bit, but honestly, like, it wasn't helping a lot. It was kind of burning my skin again. This was summer of college, going into my sophomore year of college. It was just getting worse again. And then my best friend, Lex, she was also struggling with acne. She actually broke out, like, randomly too, and she ended up going to this dermatologist named Dr. Blose, and they have an office in Downey, California and Montebello, California. Curology wasn't working, facials weren't working, the other dermatologist I went to wasn't working, nothing was working. So she was like, you have to go to this dermatologist, and I saw her skin was clearing up, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. I ended up calling them for an appointment, and there was a waiting time of like probably like 3 months that I had to wait. And I think I had my first doctor's appointment like in November, and this was probably like August that I was calling, like August or September that I was calling. And so I ended up scheduling that appointment. I wasn't doing anything in between August and November, but between the time that I was going to Dr. Blose, which is the dermatologist I ended up going to, they were telling me that my facials were activating my acne, the Vanicream Bar Soap activated my acne, Curology wasn't helping. Like, I think Curology didn't help as well because it's like the doctor isn't there and they can't physically see your face. It's all pictures. Like, you can only see so much through pictures. So when I went to Dr. Blose, they ended up doing a chemical peel, but it was like the most gentle chemical peel that they could like esthetician or someone can do for your skin, and it actually burned like a little bit. They leave it on for 3 minutes, and it actually burned a little bit, but it was nothing compared to what the esthetician had done to me before when I went to get a facial. And I was like kind of iffy about it, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try. I have nothing to lose. My skin's already bad. Like, what more can like I have? You get me? So from then on, from November, I ended up having an appointment every month. And then, so the doctor ended up putting me on Adapaline, and she ended up prescribing me azithromycin 250 milligrams. And she also asked me if I wanted to do Accutane, but I was so against Accutane, I did not want to do it because I heard all the horror stories. After a couple months, my skin did start to get better. So she also gave me Clindamycin topical lotion because my skin before, the dermatologist gave me salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide, and that would irritate my skin before. So that's like early on when my skin first started breaking out, I would use that, and it wasn't helping at all. It made it worse. I take my azithromycin pills, 250 milligrams Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it was honestly working. And then came around December and then into January of this past year, January 2017, the topical gels weren't doing very much. I also tried out the Muddy Body mask, and honestly that did help me a lot. It would take the redness away, and it made my skin feel like it wasn't so inflamed and so irritated. It kind of relaxed my skin. But when I would use it, I wouldn't let it dry all the way. I would kind of leave it on for like 15 minutes and then wash it off when it wasn't all the way dry because it would just dry out my skin. So the Muddy Body mask also did help a lot. That's why I'm always talking about it on social media. So January 2017 comes around. I have my first dermatologist appointment with Dr. Blose of the 2017 year, and they call me asking if I still have the same insurance. I call my dad, we don't have the same insurance. So I can't go to the dermatologist January 2017. So I start to freak out. I like flip. I was really mad because Dr. Blose was actually helping me for the first time, and it was actually working. But honestly, it didn't cure my acne. It just subsided it a lot compared to like how it was the past 2 years I was struggling with it. So I stopped going to Dr. Blose because of an insurance change. I didn't want to pay the co-payments just because I couldn't afford it. I ended up having to switch to Kaiser because that was the insurance that we ended up getting. And I've had Kaiser before, like as a kid and stuff, but never for like a dermatologist. So I remember I ended up having to call Kaiser, and it was just like you had to wait about like 3 months in order to see a dermatologist. Before I went to my appointment, I washed my face, I put my moisturizer on, I put my Muddy Body oil on because that's like what helped my skin. I remember sitting down in the room, and I remember my best friend was with me. The nurse walks in and I'm sitting there and she goes, "Oh, you're here for acne." I was like, well, yeah, can you help me? Like, can you do something about it? And then the doctor's telling me, she's like, "Oh, your skin is very oily." And I was like, "Actually, I put an oil on it." And then she's like, "Oh, that's why you're breaking out more, is because you're putting the oil on it." And like in my head, I was like, no, like this is actually helping my skin. And honestly, like during the colder months, my skin gets drier. That's why I was using the oil for a while. And it was helping me during the drier months. But the nurse was pretty much just bashing whatever I was doing. And she's like, "Oh, what do you use to wash your face?" And I was telling her everything that I was using. And I use Vanicream, like it's a bar soap. And then I also use the Vanicream Moisturizer. And it's like very gentle. It doesn't break me out or anything. She was like, "Oh, you should try these." And it was like the Neutrogena one. I've tried before, it didn't work. I did try the Cetaphil one, it did nothing. They honestly just kind of dried out my skin, the other ones. And the Vanicream was the only one that didn't dry out my skin because it actually has moisturizer in the bar soap. And I ended up going in there asking for azithromycin again just because it was working. And the actual doctor came in and she was like, "You don't want anything strong, it's just going to get worse, you need Accutane." And I was like, "Ma'am, I didn't ask for your harsh opinion. I'm asking you to help me and you're just telling me the obvious, like that my skin is oily because I have an oil on. You're pretty much telling me that everything that I'm using and everything that I have isn't working. And she was like, oh, make sure stuff is non-comedogenic, non-acnegenic, whatever, like it's dermatologist tested. And like I know that from previous research. And she was just telling me like you need to do Accutane. And she was like, if you were my daughter, I would have you do Accutane. But it's like, I'm not your daughter. This is my decision. And I was so against it. And I remember she gave me like the I Pledge papers and like the Accutane like whole book to go ahead and read it over. And I really looked into it. Like I was looking at all kinds of YouTube videos on it, and I'm just researching it myself again because I did research it prior, but I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And to that point I was like, no, I don't want to do this, like it's gonna be too much for my face. So I was just like really scared to do it for my body. And then I was just really irritated because my skin was a lot better than what it had been like previously, and like I had actually started to get my confidence back in my skin, and then for them bashing it, like it just made me so mad. And it's like, if you're a nurse dealing with dermatologist patients, it's like you should be very sensitive to the situation, since it is very sensitive. It is a very sensitive topic to most people. And to me, honestly, isn't that bad because I'm not that sensitive about it anymore, because you know what, like I've been through it and I've mentally become like a better person physically, and my skin isn't as bad. So I feel like that does give me a lot of confidence as well, because my skin isn't nearly as bad as it was before. Like this is honestly really good compared to what it was before. And then I just remember leaving that appointment like really pissed, and like really I just felt so ugly, and like I just had like a loss for words. And even my friend was like, damn, like I wouldn't even want to come to the dermatologist if I was you. So I was really mad that I had to go to the dermatologist, and they ended up scheduling me another appointment, which I missed because I didn't want to go. I needed a pill refill, so I ended up having to call. I ended up calling the doctor because I needed their approval for the refill, and I ended up getting a refill on it. I ended up having to see the doctor again. This was like it was a little after a month of having seen them before. So I went to my second Kaiser appointment. I wanted to start at the Accutane because I know someone who actually did Accutane, and they said like their skin is a lot better, and their skin was kind of like mine, but I feel like mine is a little worse. And throughout that time span of my first Kaiser appointment to my second Kaiser appointment, I ended up getting acne right here. Let me show you guys. I ended up getting acne all the way down here, which I never had before. Like look at all this right here, and it's all right here. I never had any of this before, and until recently, in between the time span of my first Kaiser appointment to my second Kaiser appointment. So I had redone my research, and I was just ready to start Accutane. I had gone in there because the person who I know who did Accutane, she didn't have to do the birth control, and I told her, I was like, I'm willing to do Accutane, I'm not willing to do the birth control. And the nurse was like, I have a 15-year-old daughter who's on birth control because she's on Accutane, like you need to do it. Like she was being so like snappy about it. I don't know if it was because she was mad like her 15-year-old daughter was on birth control and Accutane, like, and I was saying I don't want to do it, but I don't know what was her problem. And she was not sensitive to the topic at all. She was just making me so frustrated, just making me feel like bad about myself. So that happened or whatever, and then I ended up just like leaving that appointment because I was so mad, and just like I couldn't believe how the nurse was acting with me. Like she's honestly just being a bitch, and like I wasn't up for it. I didn't deserve that going to dermatologist. And there was a nurse, and there was like another nurse in there who she was so nice. Like honestly, I wanted to tell her like I'm sorry you had to be in here because this is so uncomfortable, and it should never be like this with a patient. But I wasn't being rude or anything. Like I was just like keeping myself together, but I was telling her exactly what I felt and what I had researched and stuff, and she was just not having it. And I ended up leaving that appointment, and I was there because my mom was with me that time because I wanted her to see like how rude like the nurses were. And my aunt actually works at that Kaiser, so I ended up calling my aunt and telling her like the situation that happened, and she ended up referring me to the head of the dermatology department there. And I ended up getting another appointment like a couple of days after to go ahead and start my Accutane papers, and she was so nice. So from that point to now, I've waited 30 days for my first appointment after signing my Accutane papers, and I'm actually going to be starting Accutane in 4 days. It's July 6th. I will be starting it on July 10th, and honestly, I couldn't be any happier. I actually have some hope like that my skin is going to get better and that I will have clear skin one day. And it took me like so long to actually get to this point of having to do Accutane, but I wanted to make sure that I tried everything in my power to be able to try and clear my skin naturally, and nothing has been working. And honestly, with like Instagram and being on social media, me personally career-wise, doing this is like a step for me, like taking care of myself. I'm really excited, really nervous. I'm really scared of the purging stage, but I just want to let you guys know that if you guys are struggling with acne and the doctor's telling you to do Accutane, don't ever let them force you into doing it, because they can't tell you what to take. It took me like 3 4 years in order to finally be able to decide that I am ready to do Accutane. And I will definitely be keeping you guys updated, and I will do like monthly updates of how my skin is doing. I just want to give you guys some tips and tricks now on what products to use and stuff. If you guys are struggling with acne, again, everyone's skin is different, so don't be disappointed if you try something and it doesn't work for you, because everyone's skin is different. So this is the moisturizer that I recommend to you guys. I get mine from CVS, and then I also use the bar soap from this brand, and it also has this in the bar soap so it doesn't dry out your skin. Another product that I recommend is the Muddy Body line. I use the Muddy Body Detox mask. I don't have any more right now. I need to get a new one. I'll go ahead and leave my discount code below if you guys want to try it out. But this oil right here, I post about it on Instagram and also on here as well. It's the Muddy Body Gold Elixir, and this honestly helps my skin a lot. I feel like it soothes it, and it like takes away the redness, and it kind of just brings hydration back into my skin when I feel like I've worn makeup like so many days in a row, and it's like the colder months. This honestly is a big help to me, and if you have dry skin, I feel like it even benefits you more. Just always wash your makeup brushes, wash your beauty sponges, just make sure everything around you is clean. Make sure to drink a lot of water. That's like the #1 thing if you want to have like bomb hair, bomb nails, bomb skin. You just feel better honestly when you drink a lot of water. Try to drink like 6 to 8 bottles a day. Oh, and the makeup wipes that I use, these honestly never fail me. I use the Kirkland Daily Facial Towelettes, and this is a paraben-free formula. A lot of people use the Neutrogena facial wipes, but I can't use those. They smell like a lot, and honestly I feel like they're gonna be too harsh on my skin. So these, I get these at Costco for like a pack, and honestly they're really cheap for like the amount that you get. And then also another thing is make sure not to touch your face when your hands are dirty. And then also with your phone, like the oils on it, if you're doing this, like you're getting there's like dirt on your face when you're doing that with your phone, like when you're pressing it against it. Make sure to also wash your sheets and your towels. Just make sure that you're being very hygienic. That's the most that you can do with your acne, and make sure that your products are very simple. Always keep it simple when you have acne. Never try to use so many products at once. If you're trying out something, try it out for several amount of months before you switch it, because if you're switching everything around, it's going to make your acne worse, and it really hurts. If something doesn't work for you that works for someone else, don't get discouraged. I'll definitely link all the products down below that I've been talking about throughout this video down below, so you guys can go ahead and check them out and try them out for you if you're dealing with it. If you guys are dealing with acne and you guys are feeling very lonely, I just want to give you a big hug and tell you that you are beautiful, and never let something that is physical on your face make you feel any different. Be your own cheerleader, be your own support system, because no one's going to be there for you as much as you are for yourself. You have to be there for yourself when you're feeling at your lowest. I know, like, it's okay to break down, because honestly that makes you stronger. Never make acne make you feel ugly. I mean, I'm going to Accutane with a positive mindset. Honestly, I'm really scared of the purging stage, but I feel like everything gets worse before it gets better, so don't be discouraged. If you guys have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them down below. You can also snap me questions about anything. Reach out to me. I know how it feels. It's not fun, but I just want to tell you guys that you guys are beautiful, and if you got all the way through this video, that I love you. And if you guys like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and make sure to stay tuned for my acne, for my Accutane series. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Getting a little personal with you guys, but you know what, I want you guys to know that you're not alone, because I know I felt alone and very like depressed, and it wasn't fun. And you guys are beautiful, and have an amazing day, night. I love you guys, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Also subscribe to get notified every time I do upload videos, and also hit that bell so you do get my notification. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here and watching, and that you guys are beautiful, and never let anything or anyone make you feel any less. And I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.